مساء الخير. لأن قطر تشهد الكثير والعديد من المشاريع التنموية الراقية، ولأنها تمضي بخطى ثابتة نحو التقدم، ولأنها صارت بحق عاصمة من عواصم الرقي العربي، ولأنها أيضا صارت بحق حضنا لأحلام عربية نحو تنمية ونحو مستقبل زاهر ونحو تحقيق أمن إنساني. سعداء جدا اليوم أن نطلب من الأستاذ أحمد يونس مدير الشركات الاستراتيجية والاتصالات بصلتك ليقدم لمحة عن هذه المؤسسة التي تعد واحدة من أبرز المشاريع التنموية في قطر. أستاذ أحمد يونس، مرحبا. تفضل.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سأتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية لو تحبوا تحطوا ترجمة. In the name of Allah, most beneficent, most merciful. Human security as a concept is necessarily interdisciplinary and necessarily comprehensive. In fact, the most recent UN Human Development Report for the region begins in its chapters on human security with environmental security. So if we are going so far as to speak about the environment, which we absolutely should, when we engage the realities of the people of the region and their security as individuals, then we necessarily need to pay attention to the ability of an individual to be a contributing, positive, constructive, forward-looking member of their society. One of the significant challenges that we face here in the Arab world is a challenge of numbers. And those numbers are represented in young people. According to estimates at the World Bank, within the next 20 years, we here in the region need to create 100 million jobs in order to ensure that levels of unemployment do not increase over that period of time. 100 million jobs. President Barack Obama is attempting to create 6.2 million jobs. 100 million jobs. It's a significant challenge. And it's a challenge that must be addressed in a comprehensive approach, just as much as the proposition human security must be addressed in a comprehensive way. Silatuk is an institution founded by Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasir al-Misnid, one of many institutions that have actualized Her Highness's vision for significant change in the lives of young people here in Qatar and around the world. Silatak comes from the root word in Arabic, sila, which means connection. Silatak means your connection. What are those things that young people need to be connected to in order to ensure that they are vibrant, contributing members of society? At Silatak, we have the focus of job creation. We have the focus of ensuring that there are avenues that yield to young people in the Arab world an opportunity to be part and parcel of the growth, the development, and the seriousness that is required in the region to change the realities that young people face on a daily basis. Silatak was announced at the UN Alliance of Civilizations Conference in Madrid 2 years ago, and it focuses on 3 pillars. The first is mindset, the paradigm of society and the paradigm of young people as it relates to their realities in public economic life. Pursuant to that, Silatak creates with the Gallup organization in Washington, D.C., something called the Silatak Index, or Mu'ashir Silatak. The Silatak Index is the first ever random sample poll of youth opinion in the 22 Arab countries. What do young people believe the challenges that they face are? What do young people believe the obstacles that are in front of them are and how they should be removed? What are young people looking to benefit from their governments, from civil society, from intergovernmental organizations? How can a young person in the Arab world be viewed as a component of the solution to the economic challenges that are faced, not a component of the challenges and the problems that exist. Mindset also deals with the mindset of society as a whole. How does society see young people? Are young people a part of the solution, or are they a part of the problem? Are young people the baggage that is leading to the lack of progress that we see around us, or are young people the catalysts for the change that needs to happen? The second pillar within the conceptual framework of Silatek is policy. No matter how much we measure what people think, unless we change the legislative and political realities that serve as an obstacle to their growth and inclusion, we will never be able to bring about a fundamental change in the way that they live. This is not an activist movement. This is not about advocacy. With all due respect to the human rights activists that are here, with all due respect to the folks that are attempting to get more out of government, who are here from civil society, we are not activists. We serve as a space for all stakeholders to come to the table and say, what is each individual and each institution and each government doing, and how can we make this movement a comprehensive, holistic movement that includes governments, that includes universities, that includes young people, that includes civil society, that includes the West. And those things that can be brought from other parts of the world to catalyze the change that is necessary for young people. How can we build a movement, a social movement that recognizes and respects young people and gives them those tools that they need to be part and parcel of the society within which they live? So the second is policy. How can we as an institution, and how can those that know best in the Arab world engage with decision makers and opinion shapers to ensure that young people are the tip of the spear in the ability of legislators and government officials to change the economic reality that exists within their countries? And the third is access. You know, we can give as many encouraging speeches as we want, but unless we give young people access to those things that they necessarily need, that science tells us they need, in order to bring about significant change, we will never see the change happen in reality. So what do they need access to? They need access to finance, access to capital. They need access to markets. They need access to job placement services. They need access to skills training. If they have a small to medium-sized enterprise, they need access to business development services. No matter how much I encourage someone, unless I give them the tools that they need to bring about significant change, I will never see that change happen within the society within which they live. So Silatek is actually a very simple concept. How can we bring about, and I use this word very cautiously, a revolution? A revolution in the life of the young Arab. Not a revolution against governments, but a revolution against despair. To revolt against despair, to revolt against marginalization, to revolt against the negativity and the depressive tone that exists in the discourse around young people, and to embrace success, to embrace progress, to embrace partners that can bring about the change that needs to be brought about in the daily life of a young person in the Arab world. Well, this necessarily requires for us to focus on a number of communities within that larger class of society called young people. Amongst them are young women. Amongst them are young people with disabilities. Amongst them are young people that are engaging in civil society institutions and need money, skills, development, access to finance, access to markets. They need these things in order for their institutions to become more robust, to become more effective, to become more serious. One of the organizations that exists within Silatek is called the Knowledge Consortium. The Silatek Knowledge Consortium is a gathering of the stakeholders that exist that know the most about the realities, the economic realities that the Arab world faces. That includes many universities, the American University of Beirut, Assam Faris School of Public Policy. It includes the Dubai School of Government. It also includes intergovernmental institutions like the International Labor Organization, the Arab Labor Organization, which is a part of the Arab League. It also includes institutions that have a know-how of the science of extracting information. The Gallup organization, the largest polling firm in the world. An organization called Economic Modeling Specialists Incorporated. When Silatech decides to engage in country operations in one of the 22 countries, there has to be a scientific approach to where we put our effort, where we put our money, where we send our people. What sectors are we going to engage? Are we going to engage the construction sector in Yemen, the tourism sector in Morocco? Are we going to engage with a banking consortium to ensure that there is youth-friendly lending in the majority of banks within the Arab world? Are we going to ensure that financial institutions see young people as the catalysts for change? That there are loan guarantees for young people that are attempting to catalyze their small to medium-sized enterprises? There is a need for a comprehensive movement that attempts to change the reality that young people face in the Arab world. Silatech is not the first institution to embark upon this journey. And we work with the institutions that have embarked upon this journey before. The Mohammed bin Rashid Maktoum Foundation, based in Dubai. There are many institutions throughout the Arab world that have engaged the issue of job creation, that have taken a small slice of the larger pie that needs to be approached in order for there to be significant change. We do not believe we have all the answers, but we believe that we can create a space, we can create an arena where others come to ensure that there is a serious and comprehensive approach to meeting this challenge of creating what is almost 100 million jobs in the next 20 years. Let me speak to close from a personal perspective. I come from the United States of America. During the founding of the United States, there was a series of articles that were written in newspapers in New York City. Those articles were written by those that were arguing for the creation of a constitution in the United States. Those articles and the arguments within them were later compiled in something called the Federalist Papers. And in the first Federalist, the first chapter of this book, a man by the name of Alexander Hamilton writes in the first paragraph, he says, speaking about the United States, he says, "It seems to have been left to the people of this nation, by their conduct and example, to determine the question whether man will forever be destined to be ruled by fear and force, or whether we can build a society that is sourced in reflection and choice." As to my estimation, whether the United States of America has succeeded in that journey, that's for a different conversation. There are many challenges that many communities face in the United States, and they have not yet reached full equality in the public square. But if we take the concept and apply it to our lives as an Arab world, as a majority Muslim region, each of us need to believe that for the young person in the Arab world, he deserves, she deserves, as inalienable to her or him, something that you cannot alienate from them, you cannot take it away from them. What is it? A life where they are free and where they have the resources and the institutions and the support to reflect and to choose a course of progress